How's it going, guys? Graham Jason Matthews back here on WrestleRant, where I review all the pay-per-views that I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking about Fully Loaded 1999, which was much better than Fully Loaded 1998, to say the least. Not as good as Fully Loaded 2000. Like I said in my previous video, the pay-per-views got gradually better as they went along from 98 to 99 to 2000, but still, pretty good show overall. Let's get right into it with the opening match of the Intercontinental Championship. Jeff Jarrett taking on the champion Edge. In a very good match, Edge's easily his best singles match up to this point in his career, which is not saying much. It was only 1999. But it was weird how they did this. Edge beat Jarrett, I believe, at a house show. I know that for a fact. I don't know for a fact that it was on Saturday. I think the commentators alluded to how it took place the night before at some live event in Edge's native Toronto or Canada, whatever. Somewhere in Canada, somewhere in Edge's home country of Canada. Won the IC title, his first of many Intercontinental Championships, and then Jarrett would win the belt back the very next night. So I don't know what the point of it was, maybe to add some unpredictability to their live events, saying anything can happen. I'm not exactly sure. You could see some people were pissed off in the front row after Jarrett won the belt back. That was funny to see. So even back then, when the IWC wasn't technically existing, wasn't a thing at that point, there were still people that were pissed at match outcomes like that. I know I would be pissed if I was watching at that time and Edge's first initial reign as IC champion was cut short. But anyway, like I said, really, really good match. Jeff Jarrett does not really get the credit he deserves sometimes for being a good worker. Overrated, sure, maybe as a world champion in TNA and in WCW, but in WWE, I felt like he was right where he belonged in the mid-card and was good in the opening slot, a lot like he was in the 98 Fully Loaded pay-per-view. So good match here, like I said, some interference protecting Edge, and interference overload is not always great for every match, like I've talked about before, but it worked in this case. You had interference from Deborah and Gangrel, who was feuding with Edge at that time, so it made sense. Protected Edge in defeat. We got a new champion crowned. Good stuff. After that, we had the Acolytes taking on the Hardy Boys for the tag team titles in a handicap Acolyte rules match. Fun for what it was. I really had no desire to see Michael P.S. Hayes in action, but he served his role well. He, got in a couple hits here and there, and APA pretty much destroyed him. But a good match. A good match. Acolytes went over. They beat the Hardy Boys to win the belts back. Or maybe win their first tag team titles. I'm not exactly sure. But still, a good match what it was, and again, something different, which I appreciate. Not a great match, but because it was something different, that boosts my rating of it just a little bit. So good stuff there. After that, we would have... Oh, I forgot to mention this, too. I mean, Hayes, for those unaware, the sight of him with the Hardy Boys was a little weird because it did not last long. I mean, the Hardy Boys would ditch him soon enough and then join Gangrel, so I forgot to mention that earlier. But anyway, DLo Brown taking on Midian for the European Championship in a pretty throwaway match with DLo Brown. I love DLo Brown. Midian sucked. So it was a really good thing they took the title off him here, and DLo Brown is finally European champion once again, where he really thrived. I mean, the year before when he won the belt, and he was saying he was hailing from all these different countries as European champion, where he did not actually hail from. So stuff like that makes a character, develops a character, makes him entertaining. That's why DLo Brown, in addition to being a great athlete, obviously, was a really fun character back in the Attitude Era. Like I said, the match was really ho-hum, but I was glad to see DLo Brown win back the belt. After that, we had for the Hardcore Championship a hardcore match with Al Snow defending against Big Boss Man. And again, it was something different. They took the action all around the arena, into the backstage area, into the bathroom, outside the arena, all this craziness. And again, I enjoyed it in that respect. Hardcore matches overdone, ad nauseum are not really my thing. That's why I'm not really a huge ECW guy. Old ECW, that is. Even new ECW, probably not. But even though they're two different things, we know what I mean. The match for itself, for what it was, that was very fun. I always loved the Hardcore Championship and the idea of a 24/7 rule, which I don't think was in effect at this point anyway. But the idea they would be able to go outside the arena, and as opposed to just nowadays using a trash can or a steel chair or a low blow. I mean, look no further than Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin at Extreme Rules, that no disqualification match. So again, something different, so I enjoyed it for what it was. Big Bossman winning the belt back by, I think, handcuffing Al Snow outside, so that was interesting, but a fun little match for what it was. In a match that was not so fun, we had Hardcore Holly serving as a special guest referee for a match between The Big Show and Kane. Yes, a match that we've seen a million times in 99, 2001, 2006, 2011, 2016, need I go on? It seems like every 5 years we get some sort of Big Show and Kane tag team feud, alliance, something just completely unnecessary. So I know we saw this match a few times earlier on this year, right before WrestleMania. We're getting it again, or we got it even before that, almost 20 years before that in 1999. And the match sucked even then. Holly as special guest ref was good. He was a great character too. saying he, coming out of 400 pounds. I think that was him, and not only Crash. Maybe it was Crash, I don't know. But anyway, he was a great character too. The match sucked. Big Show won. Taker helped him attack Kane afterwards, and that was it. But yeah, that helped save the match a little bit, but the match itself sucked. Ken Shamrock taking on Steve Blackman in an Iron Circle match. Again, something different, so I enjoyed it for that respect, but for what it was, not. I mean, this is a case where I can't say everything that's different is great. This just wasn't that appealing, I guess. Maybe appealing, but it wasn't just well executed, I guess is the best way to put it. So basically, an Iron Circle match was essentially what the video games would call, or at least 07 and 08, the SmackDown vs. Raw games, a parking lot brawl. You put the two guys in the middle of cars where they're all beeping at them the entire time. And the last man standing wins, basically. So basically a street fight. And in the end, it was Ken Shamrock who won. And all you had the rest of the roster surrounding them with cars, egging them on. So again, something different, something innovative. It was cool in that respect. Just didn't really last long at all. Ken Shamrock won way too decisively, in my opinion. But for what it lasted, again, it's kind of a common theme throughout the show, a lot of different stuff. So for that reason, I liked it, but not just well executed. I feel like it did not fulfill its full potential, and there was more they could have done with the concept, the match stipulation. After that, we had a tag team match with the winners taking the rights to the D-Generation X name. We had DX members, Road Dogg and X-Pac taking on DX members, Billy Gunn and Chyna, which is so surreal to me. I had to remind myself after Road Dogg beat Billy Gunn, he pinned him here. I had to remind myself that only the very next month did we get Billy Gunn and Rock. And that would make more sense later on in the night after Billy Gunn helped Triple H beat The Rock, and that would set the stage for their SummerSlam match, which wasn't a bad match, but it was a bad idea to push Billy Gunn as a singles star. He was a really good wrestler, but he was never meant to thrive on his own as a singles guy. That much was evident throughout most of 1999, the whole Mr. Ass shit. It sucked. This match was not bad, but to me, more so than anything else, it was very apparent that Road Dogg was the more over between the two. So it was better that they pushed him as a single star as opposed to Billy Gunn, who just didn't really click with the crowd at all. Road Dogg was the worst wrestler, but more over. Billy Gunn was the better wrestler, but not as over. Yet they put him in the match with The Rock anyway at SummerSlam. So, take that for what it is. Interpret that as you will. But as he said, in the end, it was Road Dogg and X-Pac taking the rights to the DX name, which was ultimately worthless anyway. Because Road Dogg would go on to reunite with Billy Gunn later on in the year, and X-Pac would go on to form a tag team with Kane. So this whole thing was a complete waste of time, essentially. So after that, a fully loaded strap match to determine the number one contender to the WWE title at SummerSlam between Triple H and The Rock. So a fully loaded rematch from the match from the year before between Rock and Triple H. And as I said in that video, these guys have just awesome chemistry with one another. An even better match this time around than it was the year prior, I would say. Just the only thing working against it, once again, was the overbooked interference from DX and all the other shit that went down. So take that out of the equation. It was a good match. There were certain points where it kind of dragged. I don't think it needed to go 20 minutes. I apologize for my phone going off in the background if you can hear that. But anyway, I don't think the match needed to go as long as it did in almost 20 minutes. And strap matches can be hit or miss, I would say. They can either be really entertaining or just totally a miss, and like no one really cares. Typically, more often than not, I hate strap matches, but this was pretty entertaining, made entertaining by the great chemistry that Rock and Triple H had. In the end, Triple H once again going over. I mean, I guess the year before he lost. It was a draw, but he won here and became the new number one contender to the WWE title. So a pretty good match between Rock and Triple H, and they would have better matches in 2000, but their chemistry, like I said in my previous video, would get better as the years went on from 98, from 99. From 99 to 98 was a big difference. A lot better in 99 than it was in 98. But 2000 was really the peak of their feud, in my opinion, in which they had the best matches they've ever contested. And then we get to the main event, Stone Cold Steve Austin defending the WWE Championship in a First Blood End of an Era match. Where have I heard that before? Against The Undertaker. So same competitor like at WrestleMania 28. With a lot of stipulations here. So if The Undertaker lost, Vince McMahon can no longer appear on WWE TV. And if Austin lost, he would have never been granted another shot at the WWE title. So in the end, Stone Cold won. Vince McMahon was gone for all of, a month? He wasn't gone for very long. I mean, obviously Vince resurfaced not too long afterwards. A good match, though. I mean, I would say Taker and Austin had better matches at other points, including their SummerSlam match from the year prior. That was kind of the theme for both main events. This was basically a SummerSlam 98 rematch show, the two main events. Rock and Triple H, a really good match, but they had a better match at SummerSlam the year prior. Stone Cold and Undertaker, again, a lot of interference, but a better match the year prior. And First Blood match is the same thing as the strap matches. I feel like I'm not a huge fan of the stipulation, not of the concept of making someone bleed, but I feel like it can get very boring until something big happens. But with all the interference, it worked out. They had good chemistry. Austin in the end retaining the title, still the WWE champion. Vince McMahon gone from WWE TV, albeit for a week or two, or maybe even a night. Who knows? But he wasn't gone for very long. So that closed out Fully Loaded 1999. As he said earlier, a better show than 98. Not as good of a show as 2000 for the Fully Loaded installments. But overall, I would say it was a decent show. The main events were what saved the show. The undercard was pretty good. A lot better than the undercard from 98. So quick recap, Jarrett and Edge, a really good opener. Acolytes and Hardy Boys was what it was. Fun yet different. DLo Brown and Midian served the purpose in taking the title off of Midian. Bossman and Al Snow, fun. Big Show and Kane, awful, but at least it was kept short and sweet for the most part. Shamrock and Blackman, not what it could have been, but fine for what it was. DX versus DX, ultimately meaningless, and the two main events were pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. So overall, I would say the good outweighs the bad. Good, fun show. Check it out. But I would not recommend against watching the show. I would not advise against watching the show, but in full anyway. And if there's any one match to watch, it'd probably be either Triple H versus The Rock or the main event. Probably Triple H and The Rock versus The Rock, in my opinion. But again, if you're going to watch any Fully Loaded pay-per-view in its entirety, I would save that for the 2000 show. I would really say that was the best installment they ever did. But anyway, guys, that is my review for Fully Loaded 1999. As always, thank you for watching and listening. I'm Graham Jason Matthews. You can find me on Twitter at WrestleRant, on Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.Jason.Matthews, and right here on YouTube by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. So until next time, guys, I'll catch you guys in my next video covering Fully Loaded 1999. I'm Graham Jason Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.